Recently, we did a class on trust, and a lot of devotees really liked it, and they wanted me to share on daily video a little bit of the essence of it because they felt it's so important. So please listen, because trust is about us becoming trustworthy so other people can trust us. One big problem we face in our society is confidentiality. Where can I go and tell somebody my darkest secrets and know I won't be judged and no one else will know? Now, if what I did is illegal, they may have a legal obligation or a moral obligation to let authorities know. But in general, that's not going to be the case. Where can I go to someone who I can confide all my shadows, all my anarthas, and be heard, listened to, in such a safe environment that I can begin to heal? Because if I don't talk about these things, I can't heal them. And we had talked about devotee care. About devotee care, one of the essences of devotee care is to be able to hear in a safe environment. Devotees can go somewhere and be heard. That's such great care. We didn't talk so much about trust, how important that is. Many devotees have said, I don't reveal myself because I don't trust anyone. Why don't they trust anyone? They say, well, before I had said something and it was spread, or I was judged, or another devotee said something and I found out it was confidential. So if we are going to develop trust within our organization, it begins by ourselves being trustworthy. Rather than think, oh, I can't trust this person. Let's talk about now something more essential. How we can become trustworthy. So we want to be people who, when we say we're going to do something, we actually do it. Or as Prabhupada said, you should be your word. Your word, Prabhupada used the phrase word of honor. Word of honor means I am my word. What I say I am, what I say I do. You can trust me that when I say this, I will do it. Number one. Number two, behavior. I must act according to my position. As I raise myself and I become more of a leader, more is expected of me, not only in terms of my material capabilities, but my behavior. Trust develops when leaders act properly. Trust develops when seniors act properly because juniors see how they're acting and they think, if I stay a devotee this long, I will also be like them if the leaders are not acting properly. It puts doubts in the juniors' minds. Will this happen to me? It puts doubts in the whole process. Does this process actually work? This person has not been acting properly. They made vows that they're not committed to. Why is that? Is there no Shakti power in the process? So behavior is very important. It builds trust. I can trust you to be self-controlled, disciplined. If you want someone to be able to repose their faith in Krishna consciousness, it goes through a person they have faith in. If they can repose faith in you, then they can repose faith in Krishna. If they lose faith in you, they often lose faith in Krishna. So rather than be thinking about how others need to be trustworthy, it's better we think ourselves how I can become more trustworthy. Now, think about this. Have you ever said something that you would do and it just escaped your mind and you forgot? If you're a human being, if you have one head, two arms, two legs, yeah, you probably did that. Probably more than once. I do this a lot until I became aware that I was doing it. I just took it for granted. Oh, it's not that important. I'll get around to it. And the relationship is not that important. And so I forget. Think about it. What does that do to the relationship? How does that make people feel? How does that make people feel? It makes them feel belittled. Makes them feel like you don't really value them. You don't give importance to them. That's how it makes them feel. So just try to understand when we say we're going to do something and we don't. People feel disrespected. They're not so inclined to trust you. They're not so inclined to work with you. The last thing I want to say, of course, we could go on for a long time. The last thing I want to say is we often meet together to work on projects, and we often say, I will volunteer to do something. And maybe we're overbooked. Maybe we don't have time. Maybe we can't do it, but we say we will, and then we can't. Don't say you're going to do something unless you're sure you can do it. It's better just to say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I don't have the time. I know you don't want to disappoint people, but it's more disappointing to say, I'm going to do it and not do it. I know a lot of people in certain cultures, it's very polite or considered impolite to tell a senior that I can't do this for you when they ask for help. Much worse to say I will do it and not do it. So you are your word. You are your example. If you follow through on your word, if you follow through on your example, people will trust you. Trust is the basis. Faith is the basis for advancing in Krishna consciousness. We need armies and armies of devotees in which people can repose their faith and know if I open myself to them, they will keep it confidential. They will not judge me. That these people, they are as good as their word, what they say, and they set an example which is based on Prabhupada's teachings, and that gives me faith. All three things give me faith to be a better devotee.